Happy Fangirl Friday! Today I want to take this time to talk to you about Quantic Dream's title, Detroit Become Human. And while I do believe that this game is not without its flaws, I am totally in love with it. So, because this is called Fangirl Friday, not Critical Analysis Friday, we're going to talk about all the awesome stuff that this game has to offer.
I remember back in 2004 when they released the trailer for Lionhead Studios' first Fable game. I was so excited for the idea of your choices impacting your gameplay. Will you be good or will you be evil? It was a huge part of their advertisement campaign. When I finally beat the game, I remember being a little disappointed that the moral choices ended up having very little impact on my story. I recall the ending being very much the same whether or not I chose to be good or evil. Ever since this release, a part of me has always wanted to see a true consequence-driven narrative in a video game. And while many other games have tried to offer that experience, I think few have really nailed it the way Detroit Become Human has. At its core, Detroit is all about the choices you make. The game offers multiple different endings, different scenarios, and different locations depending on the decisions that you make in your story. Decisions are narrative driven, not morally driven. So, just because you choose to do the morally correct thing in a situation does not automatically lead you to the best possible ending. When making your decision, you really have to think critically and try and put yourself in the mind of the character to make the most logical decision based on the circumstances. Sometimes what you believe to be the right choice ends up going horribly wrong, and vice versa. You won't know the true impact of all of your choices until you've completed the game. So I definitely recommend playing through the story once straight to see how everything plays out before going back and changing decisions in previous chapters. Main characters can even die very early on in the story, which can drastically alter the outcome as well. I love this. It adds weight to your actions and increases tension and urgency in high-pressure situations. After each chapter in the game, you will receive a graph report of all of the decisions you have made. Here, you can see the options you may have missed, other branching outcomes, and other player choices based on the percentages shown by each outcome. I thought this was a really nice touch. It shows you just how much the story can actually vary. This is also super handy to anyone who wishes to fully complete the game. Quantic Dream has worked very hard on world building and player immersion as well. While I don't think the universe is necessarily realistic, androids destroying the job market by 2038 would not be economically viable, for example, I also don't think it really needs to be. Even if this future is something that is unlikely to happen in our own universe, the circumstances make sense given the parameters in the Detroit universe. For example, in a world where androids have dominated the workforce and marketplace, it makes sense for there to be an excess of poverty and drug abuse. Desperate people who can't find a job turning to escapism. If you are interested in finding out more about the world around you, look for the magazine articles that you can find during your story. There are articles about androids, of course, but also articles about global issues such as bee extinction or the imminent threat of a new world war. They are definitely worth the read. I was really impressed with how true the writers were to the tone of the magazine medium. If the article was about economics, the tone reflected so. It was serious and concise, and a little bit fear-mongery. If the article was a fluff piece, the tone was lighthearted and sassy. Think Cosmo or Glamour. I also would like to call attention to the fact that each character in Detroit had a different composer for their music. How cool is that? It differentiates between everyone's story and gives each section a unique feel and personality. Like the characters. You didn't have to do that, Quantic, but you did. Thank you. Bless you. Oh my god. Mwah. Kisses. Mwah. Mwah, mwah, mwah. Even the title screen was carefully designed. Here you have your own personal android, Chloe, who acts as your guide throughout the game. Her interactions with you reflect what has happened in your story. She offers polite conversation, welcomes you back if you've been gone for a while, asks you personal questions, and gives you a survey to take about androids. Everyone likes surveys, right? I know I do. But enough about that. Let's talk about my favorite part of this game, and that is the acting. Holy heck, the acting in this game is so good. Oh my god. For a game that heavily relies on character decisions, performance is essential. The characters must be believable and relatable for the player to identify with them and want to pursue their stories. Of course, the writing is important as well, however, personally, I do have mixed feelings about it. While I appreciate the amount of detail and character development in the writing, I feel like some of the dialogue is overly expository and obvious. Detroit seems to like to use dialogue as an opportunity to tell you how you're supposed to feel, instead of creating a more natural dialogue and letting the player extract the meaning for themselves. But this is exactly why the acting is so dang good in this game. To be honest, I didn't really notice how cliche some of the dialogue was until I watched someone else play through the game. I totally believed that Carl's son would talk about how his dad never loved him, even though it's pretty dang convenient that he chose this exact moment to talk about his daddy issues, which I'm sure he's had for many, many years. It's a pretty melodramatic line, at least I think so, but the actor's delivery is perfect. Instead of feeding into the drama and delivering the line like it's a child's emotional outburst, he almost throws away the line, delivering the dialogue like it's a statement of fact. "You never loved me, Dad!" changes to,
"You never loved me."
The second is a stronger choice and hits harder because this accusation is delivered so matter-of-factly. We can believe that this statement is actually how Leo truly feels instead of something he says just to hurt his dad's feelings. Almost makes me feel bad for Leo. Almost. He's pretty terrible. And the acting is great across the board, from small roles to main characters. I'm beyond impressed. I loved, asterisk, in my playthrough, because gameplay varies for your characters here, how Brian Descartes takes Connor from a calculated and disconnected machine to a conflicted, empathetic human. I loved how Dominic Gould, voice of Todd, made me truly frightened for Alice and Kara. He was so menacing and unstable and broken. And some of his line deliveries were so memorable to me. I love all of Jesse Williams' inspiring speeches as Marcus. My favorite is probably the speech he delivers in the TV station. I love how Clancy Brown makes Hank this lovable drunk who is distant because of his complicated past, but also is compassionate and caring towards those he would consider his peers. And his lines made me laugh the most. I always cracked up at Hank. And I could keep talking about this cast all day, but I won't because I feel like I'm gushing. I will say, before I digress, that I really appreciate that the motion capture technology let the actors truly express themselves without leaving much to be interpreted by the animators. Lets the actor retain his or her vision for the character, which is super cool. Okay, I'm done now, I promise. Finally, I would like to mention that there's a dog in this game. His name is Sumo, and he's a good boy. Yes, he is. Oh, yes, you're such a good boy. Oh, you're such a good boy.
Detroit Become Human is one of my favorite titles of 2018 so far. I just think it is dripping with personality and polish. If you played this game, please let me know what you thought of it down below in the comments. If you loved it, if you hated it, who your favorite character was. Mine was Hank because he is the best. Oh my gosh, he has a puppy. I love him. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please, if you liked this video, give it a little like, maybe share it with your friends, maybe subscribe, and I will see you next time. Okay, I love you, bye!